Hello and welcome. You're listening to, who are you listening to, Gabby?
The Investor Lab.
What is it?
The auditory epicenter for passionate people seeking a life of freedom, choice, and abundance.
Absolutely. And today's episode embodies the actualization of that statement.
It does.
It does. It absolutely does. Well, do you want to tell us why, Gabby?
No. I think you do.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll tell you why. But Gabby's right. It does. It really does. What we're talking about today is we are showing you. We are not just telling you. We are showing you what is possible when you start to act out of confidence and power. When you launch yourself from your seat of power rather than acting out of fear. This is an episode which is designed to help transform the way you think, which is designed to help give you the perspective to know what you can achieve in real estate.
Sounds about right.
Okay, cool, good. Well, so what we're talking about today is we want to talk to you about how to get 12.9% growth and 6.24% yield in 2020. And in fact, this is not just hype and hyperbole. We recently did a performance review on a bunch of our clients' properties that we've actually purchased over the last, say, 12 months. And the results have been amazing. And we wanted to share those results with you. We spent a lot of time on this podcast talking about a lot of ideas, a lot of visions, and all of that kind of stuff. And we really like our goal with all of this is to change lives, is to transform not only individuals but communities. And we're really trying really hard to do that. But you know what really transforms things? Results. Actual results. And so it's very empowering for not only us, but you as a listener, and especially the people who've gotten the results, to actually see this kind of stuff happening. Now, over there, as you're going to discover in the episode, over the last, our top 20 properties that we reviewed, we've got an average of 12.9% growth and an average of 6.2% yield for our clients. And this has all happened very recently. You know, we've had some properties go nearly as high as 40% growth in the last 12 months. So look, we're talking about in this episode how this is actually helping people and also how it can help you too. The function of this episode is really to try and change the way you think and the way you feel. There is a lot of noise out there, and I don't just mean noise from the media and Uncle Rupert's, constant, bandwagon of fear and all of that kind of stuff, but also mean from a lot of other property professionals who talk about a lot of stuff and they swing a big swing and they have a large bandwagon, but we don't see the numbers coming out, right? And so this is transformative because it can actually show you what's actually possible when you start applying the principles that we have talked about since day one, the Holy Trinity. Like, we have never changed what our values are. Our values from day one have been about changing lives, transforming the community, and have been in line with three core principles: cash flow positive properties in high growth areas with value add potential. And we're starting to see those results come through. So if you are ready to discover what you can actually do if you buy well, if you do it right, and also if you work with us, then I highly encourage you to listen to this episode and take some notes and share it with somebody else. So there's a couple of things that I want to shout out. If you have a desire to, be better in life and property, then I highly recommend you grab a copy of my book, Limitless: The Renegade's Guide to Building Wealth Through Property. You can get that at renegadespropertybook.com. Reason for that is it's going to give you the actual tactics, tools, strategies, templates, everything you need to transform your life and become a more empowered leader in your own life and your own community, which is super, super important. But then, of course, when you listen to this episode, you're going to discover how a lot of people who are just like you have achieved huge, outsized, unprecedented levels of growth and cash flow in a really short amount of time. And you're going to be able to do it too. Now, the fastest possible way for you to get those kind of results is to work with us directly, one-to-one, and we will actually help you build your portfolio. And if you want to do that, then the best way to do that would be to book in a call. And to book in a call, you just go to dash.com.au/discovery, right? and grab a time. And then we can go from there and we can find out sort of where you're at and what you're trying to achieve and whether or not you're in the right position to be able to get these kind of results too. And I would dare say that most people actually are, because when we looked at the average purchase price across our top 20, it was $280,000. So for a lot of people, they think the property is too expensive and they can't really get into it. But we're here to basically burn all of the old myths, right? We're here to burn all this stuff to the ground and create a better world. Anyway, have I rambled on too much, Gabby?
Usually, but I think you're okay today.
Okay. All right. Okay. So what have I said there? Get the book, book in a call with us. And if you have a desire just to, learn how to do it all yourself, just go to theinvestorlab.com.au. There's like heaps of free resources. There's guides, there's templates, there's spreadsheets, there's all kinds of stuff. Honestly, somebody asked me the other day, they said, Goose, how can I learn how to go and do all of this? It's true. Somebody said, how can I, not those exact words, but they basically said, how could I learn to do what you can do? And I'm just like, dude, just go listen to all the podcasts. Like go start at number one and listen through them all. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to get basically everything you need. And if you haven't got it there, it's in one of the downloads. Just go to theinvestorlab.com.au, check it out. Like we're giving it all away. The reason we're giving it all away is because we believe that what we are doing has got nothing to do with houses and everything to do with people and changing the world. And if you want to be a part of that, then I encourage you to share this episode. If you get an email about this episode, if you actually get one of our emails and it says, hey, this episode's happening or whatever, you know what would be amazing? Reply to that email. Reply to that email and tell us what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you want to hear more of. Don't worry about going on Apple and leaving it. Just send us an email back. Just email back. We see them. We check them out and we'll communicate with you. It'd be amazing. We'd love to hear from you. Anyway, sorry. I'm jacked.
You are jacked.
I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped with all of this. I'm so pumped with the fact that
jacked on results.
Jacked on results. Anyway, I'm going to shut up. Let's get stuck into it. Without any further ado, we'll see you on the inside. Hey guys, welcome back to the Investor Lab. Hey Gabby.
Hello, Goose.
How are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
that was a really weird way to answer that question.
That's how I interact with the world these days, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah.
The interaction style of an introvert.
The ISO is getting to me.
ISO is getting to a lot of people.
I know. We're not even in Victoria.
We're not even in ISO.
I know.
So to rub it in.
I'm making it up. I'm still holding on to the ISO. I'll blame my introverted tendencies on #ISO.
Yeah. I mean, like technically you're still in ISO if you don't leave the house, right?
Hello, introverts. Welcome.
Yeah. Hello and welcome. You've joined the Introverts Lab. And
Goose, leave now.
Oh, God damn it.
Bye.
I think I am an introvert, though.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would disagree with you on that. We'll see.
We'll see.
We do like books, so.
Yeah. Anyway, so, well, I'm glad you're well, Gabby. Do you want to know how I am? Because thanks for asking.
I did ask.
No, you didn't.
I did.
Did you?
I did. Guys, please back me up. Go back. All right.
Right, let's rewind. And I'm awesome. I'm great. I'm great.
Why are you great?
Well, I'm great for a variety of different reasons. So I woke up this morning and I leapt out of bed like a steam-powered velociraptor, and I was like, "Rah!" I'm gonna take on the whole world for a number of reasons. And it's really interesting as well because when we a lot of the time we talk about a few things on this show, but namely one of them that seems to keep coming up as a bit of a theme is how jacked I get on coffee.
Yes.
But I'd just like to point out that I am currently in this. Oh my God! Hang on a second. They're back. Right. Okay. If you're listening to this, we're currently under siege by a gang of cockatoos. There's a gang of cockatoos which keep trying to break into our house, and they've just appeared at the window and they're trying to break in again. So, all right, we're on
just
high
here
alert.
for a good podcast episode, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
They're just Just waiting for the
They're
doss.
thugs. They're thugs. They're thugs. Anyway, I'm only like one coffee in for the whole day.
Whoa.
Right. So I just want to point that out, guys, just so everyone's worrying about my adrenal glands and stuff like that.
We are all worried about your adrenal glands.
Everyone's worried about the adrenal glands, but I'm high on life. You know, I'm cooked on the opportunity that is going on in the world right now. I'm absolutely loving things right now. I'm more motivated now than I have been in actually some time, which is really good, which is great. And that's what actually I wanted to talk about some of that stuff today. I want to talk about what's good, what's going on.
Yeah. So something in particular has sparked your motivation today.
Yeah. Well, 100%. So we actually did. Now, I want to preface this. I want to preface this episode with a couple of things, right? So a few months back, we did an episode, and it was like, we're just going into ISO and all of that kind of stuff, and the world was a little, let's say, challenged. We did an episode called something along the lines of 3 tips to build a portfolio that will survive and thrive no matter what happens in a pandemic. Do you remember doing that episode?
I do, yep.
I remember how you were a little bit apprehensive about the grandiose nature of the proclamation.
Sounds right.
Yep, sounds about right. I'm shouting and you're just going, oh my God.
I believe it, but do you have to shout it? Whispered.
I'm shouting right now. I am shouting because in an industry which has an absolutely shocking reputation, real estate, and a shocking reputation of being full of spruikers, charlatans, hyped up, absolute nonsense. Very rarely do you actually see those kind of claims backed up by results. And we've proven it. And so I want to shout that from the rooftops. And I will not let anyone shout me down. Since we started this business about 18 months ago, we've faced a lot of challenges. There's a lot of, like, the real estate industry is an old mindset industry. They don't like people that are in that moving and shaking and causing a bit of a ruckus and bringing some fresh energy into the environment. And so we've faced challenges, external and internal. We've had confidence issues. We've had people trying to attack us and bring us down. And I am so pumped that with a little activity that we did yesterday, which has just made me absolutely want to explode from the inside. Not because of an ego perspective, but because of a validation that what we're doing is serving and helping people. Do you know what it is?
Well, do you want to know what it is?
Well, okay, all right. So recently we did a performance review on a whole bunch of properties that we have purchased for our clients. Now, these properties date back a little over 12 months. And we didn't just kind of like make it up and go, what do we think they're worth and all of that kind of stuff. We actually got bank valuations. We ordered bank valuations on a whole bunch of properties that we purchased for our clients over the last 12 months. Now, anyone who's listening to this podcast or anyone who knows anything about us knows that we talk about a set of principles, a formula that we call the Holy Trinity, right, Gabby?
Yeah.
And what are the 3 elements of the Holy Trinity?
We got positive cash flow, high growth, value add potential.
Exactly. So the whole premise around the Holy Trinity was for being able to build portfolios that would survive and thrive no matter what happens in politics or the economy. That was the whole premise.
Yeah, it sounded like a nice theory, didn't it? But how's it going?
Well, we didn't know. We knew that it wasn't a theory, right? We knew that it wasn't a theory. But the proof is always in the pudding. Now, we've been very, very blessed, very grateful to have quite a lot of clients who've come to work with us over the past 12 to 18 months. It's been an amazing journey, and being able to share that and impact people is awesome. But what's even more awesome is actually seeing the results that they're getting. So as I said, we ordered some bank valuations from Commonwealth Bank to go, okay, cool, right, let's do a periodic review and let's just check in and see how everything's going. And the results we've gotten have been amazing. So I wanted to talk about some of those, and I wanted to also then frame it up in a way that is going to actually help people rather than us just talking about the cool stuff that we've done. How's that?
Awesome.
Okay, great. So Firstly, I want to just point out that we've created a bit of a top 20. We went, okay, let's look at all the properties we've purchased and what are the top 20. In the top 20 properties that we've purchased, all of which must be older than 5 months. Now, the reason we chose 5 months as a benchmark is that rarely under 5 months will you see much variation from the purchase price. Okay, it's typically 6 months, but there was a few big ones in there that we thought were really awesome. So in our top 20 property purchases that are older than 5 months, so we bought them more than 5 months ago, the average growth that they have seen is 12.9% growth. And also the average yield has been 6.24%, which is just crazy.
That's so cool.
That is so cool. So like some of the big ticket items, we've had a couple in there. The highest amount of growth that any of our clients got on a property, and it was actually purchased 11.7 months ago, it was 38.9%. So it's 38.9%. It's worth 38.9% more now than what they paid for it.
Yeah.
40%.
That's nuts.
That's crazy. Second best was 30%, and that was in 12.6 months. Third best was 24.3% growth in 5.1 months. 5.1. People, that's like 3 years or 4 years or 5 years worth of growth for most people.
Yeah.
For most people. You know what's crazy is that you know, in all of this is that the average yield is still 6.24%. You know, so a number of these properties are actually at 7.1%. There was an absolute cracker. It was 7.1% yield, and they got 18.3% growth in 8.4 months. So that all sounds well and good, but why do we want to talk about that today? Like, why is this even important for people to know about, Gabby?
Well, I think there's two angles to this, right? So first thing, part of what triggered me yesterday, for lack of a better word, was we were sharing these results with our clients. And one of our clients actually said, I feel like you guys are one of the industry's best kept secrets. And we kind of laughed. We laughed about it because we were like, what do you mean? We do a podcast. We're on social media. We do the stuff. People listen to us. And hopefully you guys like us as people and we bring some value to you and you resonate with what we're talking about, but we very rarely actually talk about the results that we get and the fact that all day, every day, more than 9 to 5 throughout the week, this is what we're doing. We're helping people buy houses. The podcast and everything, the content we do on top of that is because we love giving value in ways that we can and the ways that solve problems that you guys have. But yeah, just that was that comment yesterday about you guys are one of the industry's best kept secrets. And I was like, we really just don't talk about the results we're getting. Lay it on top of all of these results that have come back with bank valuations that is like, well, actually, we have something to talk to people about and be 100% confident. Like we knew that these principles were accurate anyway.
Totally.
And then you were speaking with another client yesterday as well about you go.
Yeah. So yeah. I just want to jump in there before we move on from that, because what's really interesting about the client you're talking about that you spoke to yesterday, who's like, you guys are the industry's best kept secret, which I agree with, by the way. He wasn't even one of the ones we did a performance review on. They're actually settling this week, and they've picked up a property which is going to produce $18,000 cash flow, $18,000 net cash flow.
Yeah.
18,000. I'm going to say
residential.
Yeah, residential real estate that's going to produce $18,000 net cash flow from day one without doing any work. What? Like what? 18 grand cash flow from one property without doing any work. I mean, you know, that's crazy. And you said something there that we're doing this more than 9 to 5, which is true. And we're doing this and we're buying houses. We're not just buying houses, we're changing lives. That's the whole point. Anyone can go and buy a house. You could go, if you're listening to this podcast and you have ears and eyes and a mouth and hands, and even in fact, if you're probably missing 70% of any of those things that I just mentioned, you could still go and buy a house without any issue. It's simple. If you want to go buy a house, just go on realestate.com.au, pick one, buy. done, right? But I can tell you that there's a big difference between just buying houses and actually transforming people's lives. Yeah. And this is the whole point. This is why we got into this, right? We didn't wake up one day a couple of years ago and just go, you know what, Gabby, I really like houses. I really like houses. Should we start a house business? Should we just buy houses? That, guys, did not happen.
I can't imagine us having that conversation.
No. I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't really care about houses. Like there's a lot of real estate guys out there that are just like, they're just banging for it. They're just like, oh, yeah, I love property. And I spend all that time looking at property. I spend a lot of my time looking at property. What I care, but that's a function, right? The function for us is not property. The function is people. The function is human beings. The function is changing lives. The function is creating freedom. The function is creating opportunity. The function is giving people the choice to live a life of freedom, abundance, all of that stuff. That's why we do everything we do. And I'm so enraptured by being able to see this transforming people's lives right in front of our eyes. And as you said, that it was an interesting second comment there that you were just leading into. I happened to call up one of our clients yesterday who we got one of the bank valuations back for, and I was like, Jay, my man, guess what? And he's like, started talking. He's like, man, he's in Melbourne, right? And he's like, actually, I didn't say guess what. I said, hey, how are you? And he's like, and he's like, I'm in isolation. Things are pretty tough. He was down. Like, he's a pretty positive dude, but he was sounding down. He's like, people are starting to crack. It's not that nice. But, I'm trying to stay positive and, it's downbeat. And I was like, okay, well, hopefully I've got a little bit of good news for you then. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, what's that? I said, well, that property purchased 5 months ago, 5.1 months ago to be exact. That property purchased 5.1 months ago has gone up in value by 12.6%. And he was like, what? During the pandemic? And I was like, well, yes, as a matter of fact, it was during the pandemic because he only bought his property 5 months ago, right? So we're currently, as it stands, we're basically at the end of August right now. So if we go back 5 months, coronavirus, like he actually purchased it right at the start of all of this mess. Mm. And so what, if you listen to all of the media and all of the negativity and stuff out there, we keep getting told that the world's ending and everything's falling down around us and all of that kind of stuff. And oh my God, property prices are going down and everything's going to crash and, vacancy rates are going up. Oh, how bad is life? All you need to do is take off the blinkers and have a look at the data. Right, so this is his first ever property that he ever purchased, and it's gone up by 12.6% in 5 months. And I'm just going to double check the yield on that one was about 6% yield. Right, so
that's crazy.
It's crazy, right? It's crazy, and there's other people that I spoke to as well. There's a lawyer from Brisbane who bought 7 months ago, and her property's gone up by 10.7% in 7 months. And she was enraptured. She was like, oh my God, I can start thinking about going again. And she was so pumped. And it's that joy that we can spike into people's lives, like spears of happiness that are going to permeate through the rest of the community. Now, everything we've talked about, if you've been listening to this, if you've been following anything we've been doing for the past 12 to 18 months, you will know that there's a huge part of this that is about changing the community and changing like the world around us. This isn't just about properties, and it isn't even just about people. It's about the world, right? It's about how the effects of what we do can spread seeds of joy, hope, opportunity, passion, and happiness. What I can absolutely tell you is that from the clients that I actually managed to get hold of yesterday, every single one of them, their demeanor changed, their energy shifted, and they're like, "Oh my God, I can't wait to tell X. I can't wait to tell my brother. I can't wait to tell my parents. I can't wait to tell my wife. Oh my God." And there was this beaming. I was feeling it on the other end of the phone. And that positivity, that seeps into other people. That seeps into the universal, the universal soup that we're all in of frequency, energy, and emotion. And that, my friends, is how we are changing the community. And you can tell I'm ranting, but this is the best thing in the world. Like if you could, like these kind of results, You're not going to get this anywhere else, right? This is doing nothing. Jay, the guy that I just mentioned, who got 12.6% growth, like he's started another business. He's like doing all this kind of stuff, but he's now got the freedom to go, oh my God, I've got all of this stuff working for me in the background, so I can focus on my life as well. Yeah, it's so great.
It's funny though, because we say our natural response is like, that's crazy, that's nuts, they're insane results, based on the fact that, you know, there's the old, or you can't have cash flow and growth at the same time, let alone during this kind of environment.
Totally.
So that's like, we fully believe in everything that we're doing. It's just amazing to help communicate that back to the clients who get to reap the rewards, really.
Totally, absolutely. So, and yeah, there's a couple, exactly. So there's a couple of really interesting things there. So as I pointed out, 6.2%, 6.24% average yield across the top 20. Now, I'm fully expecting to see way more of these results as we go on, and I actually think it'd be really valuable for us to set up some kind of like top 20 and just have it constantly, just because there's more and more coming through. One of the notable mentions is one that we settled on recently, but it didn't make it because it's over 5 months old. It's had 14.8% growth in just over 3 months, right? What? But when we're talking about cash flow and growth, well, as you said, all of this has happened during the pandemic, right? Even people who bought before the pandemic, the property prices have still been moving. They haven't crashed, right? They're not so. And the other thing as well that I want to point out is you don't have to spend a lot of money to buy well. I had a conversation with one of our clients yesterday, actually, who I was calling up to let them know just how well their property had performed. And they were enraptured, and they were like, okay, cool, awesome, let's think about going again. And then they asked me the age-old question. They said, oh, but I've been listening to podcasts like The Property Couch, and they talk about buying blue chip. And they talk about buying within, 10Ks of the CBD and all of that kind of stuff. How do I navigate this idea? Like, should I save for longer and get a bigger deposit? And, should I try and buy something more expensive that's, say, closer to Melbourne CBD? And I was like, well, let's just talk about this. And I actually started talking to her through some of the results that we've been getting. And I was like, the fact of the matter is that we've been getting, growths of, upwards of 35% growth in 12 months. I don't see that happening close to a CBD anywhere. Do you? Not only that, is that the holding costs of holding a property like that, it's going to be negatively geared. Don't get me wrong. Buy an apartment in Bondi. I don't normally say to buy apartments. Buy an apartment in Bondi, and it'd be a great investment. It'd be a fantastic investment, I believe, from a growth perspective. And it's going to have about 3% yield. Like, it's going to cost you heaps of money to hold it, and it's going to cost you a ton. The average purchase price across our top 20 best average was $280,900. $280,900.
Yeah.
That's like, I know we keep saying it's crazy, but these results are just like, I don't know anybody else in this industry who is talking about these kind of numbers. Do you?
No.
So, awesome. So we've done enough banging on about all of that, right? So what I think is really important, though, is that a lot of people seem to be getting stuck and frozen in inaction. They're getting stuck without, like, thinking, oh, do I need to wait for something else? Is there something else that's coming? Should I keep holding out? Should I, do I need to wait for there to be a better choice? What's going to happen when this changes? And these kind of people, I talked about this in an episode with Terry Ryder recently. It's this kind of constantly seeking an excuse to stay static is what's actually holding people back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you think about it, last year there was a whole bunch of stuff last year that was there's an election coming.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an election coming. Oh, and Christmas is coming. Oh, the credit's tight. Oh, pandemic. Oh, JobKeeper's going to finish. Oh, there's something else. There's something over the hill, and they're always just looking at they're like, something's just behind that hill and it's going to come and get me. And what I can tell you is that the people that are taking action are the people that are getting results, right? And the people that are getting results are the people that are going to have much more freedom and much more opportunity way sooner than the people who do nothing, because doing nothing is not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, you think like that, the example you went through with Jay, who he settled on the 27th of March.
Mm-hmm.
So he could have gotten cold feet during that process and pulled out.
Totally.
And somebody else would have bought that property, and somebody else would have experienced the growth that property has received in the last five or so months.
Yep.
And Jay would have been, I don't know, he might have had a couple of extra bucks in his bank account, but then
yeah,
what?
but doing what? Like doing what? It's actually devaluing. If it's in the bank, it's doing nothing. Like it's doing worse than nothing, because inflation is higher than interest rates, which means that if you keep your money in the bank, it's devaluing. It's losing money every day.
Yeah.
Now, 100% right. If Jay didn't take action then, he wouldn't have made those kind of gains. You know, he's got a cash flow positive property. It's producing a net positive income. He's had a 12.6% gain on the value of his property, which if we actually work that out on the actual gain on his investment is probably closer to like 30%, right? So, and here's a game-changing way for you to start thinking, if you're listening to this, to start thinking about real estate investment. Whilst the numbers that we've reeled off have been really, really good, you need to stop thinking about it from a top line growth number, okay? Because someone that gets 14% growth may have actually gotten an 80% return on their actual investment.
Yeah.
Right. So, and to frame that up and to give you some context, a way to think about it, if you invest $100,000, right, and you say buy a $500,000 property, and that goes up by 10%, okay, so the value of the property has gone up by $50,000. You've gained $50,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Agreed?
Yep.
But you've put in $100,000. Okay, so you've actually gained $50,000 on your $100,000, which means that you've actually made a 50% return on investment.
Yeah.
And so when you start talking these kind of numbers, it's like, oh my God, like people talk about the stock market and people talk about crypto and they talk about all of this other kind of stuff. But it is, I don't know, I don't know another asset class that allows you to do that kind of stuff. I mean, we've had, just in the last few months, we've had like a huge amount of clients that have done 70, 80, 90, 120% return on investment. And that's like, where are you going to get that? Like if you put $100,000 into the stock market and you get an 8% return in 12 months, you're going to have $108,000, right? Or you get a 10% return, you'll have $110,000. If you leverage that, get a property and it goes up by 10%, you've gained $50,000, right? So you've actually got a 50% return, not a 10% return. So I think this is something that people need to be thinking about, because, you know, there's good debt, bad debt, and all of that kind of stuff. And that, as I say, the people that are taking action right now are the ones that are making the most amount of gains. And for me, it just enriches my purpose and the whole reason that we even do any of this. That's kind of what I think. So, right. Well, if that all sounds good, what can people do now then?
I guess they could have a chat with us.
They could have a chat with us. So I want to point out something as well, that this isn't like we just got lucky once or twice, right?
No.
We didn't get lucky once or twice. This is our top 20. And yes, there are more than 20 properties that we bought, right? But that's our top 20, and that's spread across 5 different states. Okay? 5 different states. So it's not even like we bought in Southeast Queensland at the right time. It's like, there's some in Victoria. There's some in South Australia. There's some in Tasmania. There's some in Queensland. There's some in New South Wales. And there's some in Western Australia. So is that 6?
It's a lot of states.
That's 6, actually. Is it? Anyway, I've lost count. What I think is most exciting right now is that we've been like, these are the results that we've gotten over the last, say, 12 months or so. But we're getting better. Like the results we're getting seem to be getting better day in and day out. And not only that, the thing that excites me most right now is we have just locked in our next key suburbs that we're going to be buying in. So everyone talks about the market being, you know, a bad time out there, but it's actually not. And people talk about it being a buyer's market. It's not. It's a seller's market right now. You know, it's a very competitive environment. All you need to do is actually take a look at some of the numbers, and you're going to see that it's harder now to buy a property than ever before. But what's really interesting is that we have moved out of all of the areas that all of the other spruikers and property professionals are buying in, and we have just locked in and started buying in a new cluster of suburbs which I'm obviously not going to reveal right now, but a new cluster of suburbs, which from all analysis, I think are going to outperform anything that we've ever done before. I think we're going to be getting just like several orders of magnitude greater results than we've ever gotten before. And I can say that with a high degree of confidence. For example, one of the properties I was looking at today, it was a 6.5% yielding property that could be subdivided into 4 lots and has a vacancy rate of 0.5%. Like,
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if you're interested, basically, if you hate making money, if you love being trapped in your current situation and you have no desire to progress your life in any way, shape, or form, then don't speak to us. It's like, it's all good. But if you have a desire to get ahead, if you have a desire to get the best opportunities in the market, we're talking top 1%ers. I would highly recommend that. You reach out and get in touch. We've got a growing team, we've got a growing client base, and we've got a growing results pattern which you can participate in and be a part of as well. So, if you did want to reach out to us, and if you did want to connect, and if you wanted to get some of these benefits, if you wanted to join the top 20 and have experience the powerful impact of the Holy Trinity formula, principles, and all of that kind of stuff, then absolutely reach out and get in touch. Just head to dash.com.au. You can get in touch with us there, dash.com.au/discovery. If you want to know a little bit more about how we do what we do, and if you want to know how to get your mind right, because I think one of the biggest issues that most people face right now is that they don't know how to get their mindset into a position for them to start taking action, I'd highly recommend getting a copy of my book, Limitless: The Renegade's Guide to Building Wealth Through Property. The biggest thing in this book is it's going to change your paradigm in the way you think about property in general, right? It's going to change how you define your goals, how you get to take action, and how you can actually be an inspired leader in your own family unit and in your own community. And that's what the world needs more of right now, is inspired leaders. You won't just learn how to be an inspired leader, though. You'll actually learn all of the principles behind the Holy Trinity. So cash flow positive properties, how to find them, what do they do, why do you need it, fractal economics, how to find good capital growth areas, what value add options are the best, where in the process are you, and what do you need to buy next in order to get to the top of the pack, the apex progression. You can get all of that stuff, and it's completely free. All you need to do is just read a book. And reading books will change your life. So I'd highly recommend checking that out. If you head to renegadespropertybook.com, check that out. And if you just want to digest more and get more info and more value and all of that kind of stuff, head to theinvestorlab.com.au. There's literally there are enough resources there that you can just go and do this all yourself. All you need to do is do a little bit of the work. If you don't want to do the work, just reach out to us. Have we missed anything, Gabby? What do we if you could just zoom out. I know we've kind of rambled on a lot here, and we've talked about a lot of results, and we've talked about how important this is and everything like that. If you could zoom out, what do you think the biggest takeaway is that you could give to someone to help them out of this episode? Why would somebody want to listen to this episode?
I think hearing about other people achieving results in any environment, in any time, helps you to picture yourself in that position as well, and see that, okay, actual people are actually doing this. It actually might be possible for me as well. So I think one of the hardest parts for us over the last few months is seeing the amount of people acting out of fear. And it's heartbreaking when we work with people or have any conversation with people, and they're learning all of this stuff. They're learning about property. They're learning, they're reading the book. They're ready to go. They've got their mind right. They're ready to go. And then some kind of fear takes over, and then they back out. And then, like we've discussed, people back out, and then you miss out on the results, and other people get those results, and you just end up waiting and waiting and waiting. And I know that it's a tough time for a lot of people, but I'm just trying to say that sometimes if you can acknowledge that fear is just fear, and it's not, unless it's a fear about something actual, tangible and life-threatening and something serious, if it's fear for the sake of fear, it's not enough to stop your plans and stop what you're doing, because these results are out there. They're possible to go and get. You just need to do a bit of research and do a bit of work and connect with the right team, and you can go and do that. So, yeah.
That is great. I don't have anything to add to that. You smashed it. That is awesome. On that note, guys, get ready, take action, and of course, we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.